there is a silent exhaustion that comes from always being the good one. You know the type, the person who never says no, the one who always puts others first, the one who wears a smile, even when their heart is heavy. This exhaustion is invisible. It hides behind kindness and patience, behind endless compromises and silent sacrifices. You think being nice means winning love. You believe that pleasing everyone will keep you safe and accepted. But the truth is much darker. Being the good one often means losing yourself piece by piece. You lose sight of what you want. You stop listening to your own needs. You become a ghost in your own life. You give away your energy without realizing it. You burn out slowly, quietly. Sometimes you don't even notice. You think you're just being responsible, being helpful, being reliable. But beneath the surface, there's a growing pain, a tiredness that no amount of sleep or coffee can fix, a heaviness that weighs on your soul. I want to tell you a story. It's about a woman named Emily. Emily was always the good girl, at work, in her family, and in love. She was the one who answered texts quickly, made plans for everyone else, listened to problems late into the night. She was proud of being reliable. She thought it was her strength. But Emily rarely said what she really felt. She feared disappointing others. She believed her value was tied to how much she gave. And so she gave and gave, until one day, Emily found herself lying awake at night, heart racing with anxiety. She felt empty and alone, even surrounded by friends. She was overwhelmed but afraid to ask for help. She had lost touch with herself. Her mind was a storm of worries and what-ifs. Did I do enough today? Am I still a good person? What if they stop needing me? These questions haunted her. Her kindness had become a cage, a chain she couldn't break. She was burned out but still said yes. She was exhausted but still smiled. She was hurting but kept hiding. This is the hidden burnout of always being the good one. It's the price of perfectionism disguised as kindness. It's the cost of never setting limits. The emotional toll is real. It drains your joy. It steals your peace. It blurs your identity. You start to doubt if you're enough when you're not everything to everyone. This is why so many young people feel anxious and lost today, because they've learned to put others first always, to hide their true feelings, to ignore their needs, because society praises niceness. Be kind, be good. But no one teaches how to protect your own heart, how to say no without guilt, how to care for yourself without feeling selfish. That's why this chapter is for you, to remind you that your worth is not measured by how much you give. You are not your sacrifices. You are not your endless yes. You are a whole person with needs and boundaries. Learning to accept that is hard, because it means breaking habits, breaking roles you were forced to play. But it is necessary. You can't keep pouring from an empty cup. You deserve rest. You deserve to be heard, to be seen as you really are. No masks needed. No scripts to follow. When you start saying no, you might lose some people, but you will gain yourself. And that is priceless. Remember Emily? She began small, saying no to overtime once, turning down calls after work, sharing her feelings honestly. At first she felt guilty, afraid of disappointing others. But slowly she felt lighter. Her anxiety eased. She found energy to pursue her dreams. She reconnected with old passions. Her relationships grew healthier, not because she gave more, but because she gave from fullness. Being good is not about pleasing others. It's about being true to yourself. It's about accepting your imperfections. It's about honoring your limits. The most terrifying thing, as Jung said, is to accept yourself completely, but that acceptance is freedom. Freedom from burnout. Freedom from invisibility. Freedom to be whole. So if you feel trapped in kindness, exhausted from always giving, know you're not alone. Your feelings are valid. Your needs are important. It's okay to step back. It's okay to put yourself first. Because wholeness starts here. With self-acceptance. With breaking the good one mask. With loving the real you. There is a hidden cost to always being the good one. It wears down your boundaries slowly, almost unnoticed. Boundaries are like invisible fences for your heart. When you don't set them, people start crossing. You say yes when you want to say no. You sacrifice your needs to avoid conflict. You tolerate behavior that hurts you. At first, it feels like kindness. But over time, it becomes exhaustion. Your limits become blurry, unclear. You start losing yourself in relationships, especially in love and friendships. You give more than you receive. You try to fix what isn't broken. You forgive too easily, hoping for change. You hold the weight of others' emotions. You feel responsible for everyone's happiness. This isn't generosity, it's emotional overextension. I know someone named Liam. He was always the nice guy. In his relationship, he never spoke up. He avoided arguments at all costs. He thought that peace meant silence. But inside, he felt invisible and unheard. His partner took his kindness for granted. She expected him to always be available. Liam said yes to every demand, even when it drained him completely. One day, Liam realized he was exhausted. He was angry but scared to show it. He felt trapped by his own goodness. He didn't want to lose love. But he also didn't want to lose himself. He started small, setting a boundary, saying no to a last-minute plan. At first, it felt uncomfortable and wrong. He worried about upsetting his partner. But when she reacted with surprise, he saw the imbalance clearly. She had gotten used to taking without asking. That moment was painful but eye-opening. Liam began to build boundaries slowly. He communicated his needs honestly. He stopped pretending everything was okay. His relationship changed, not always easily. Sometimes there was tension and distance. But he felt more respect from himself. And from others too, eventually. Boundaries don't push people away. They clarify how you want to be treated. They teach others to value you. They protect your emotional energy. When you don't set boundaries, you risk emotional burnout. You become a caretaker of others' emotions, while neglecting your own. You feel tired, anxious, and resentful. You wonder why you always give more. But it's not your fault. It's a pattern learned early. Maybe from family, culture, or past relationships. You learn to believe your worth depends on how much you do for others. But your worth is not negotiable. It is not tied to approval or sacrifice. You deserve relationships where boundaries are respected, where your needs matter as much as theirs. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. Saying, I matter. It's saying, I will protect my peace. It doesn't make you selfish or cold. It makes you whole and grounded. When you build these invisible fences, you reclaim control over your life. You stop losing energy to things that drain you. You gain freedom to focus on growth, to heal the split inside yourself, to choose people who truly value you. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to healthier connections. They help you detach from toxic dynamics without guilt or fear. You don't have to carry everyone's pain. You can say no with kindness and firmness and still be loving and caring. The journey to wholeness begins here, by learning to respect yourself first, by understanding that your energy is precious, by protecting it wisely. If you struggle to set boundaries, know you're not alone. Many face this challenge daily. It takes courage and practice. Start with small steps. Notice when you feel overwhelmed. Ask yourself, is this my responsibility? Learn to say no without explanation. Trust that people who care will understand. And those who don't belong in your life. Real love respects limits. Real growth requires boundaries. Remember Liam's story. He found his voice by saying no. He stopped being a passive good one. He became a man with direction. With dignity and self-respect. You can do the same. Because your peace is worth protecting. Your heart deserves to be safe. And in this safety, you start healing. You start becoming whole. There is a constant battle inside your mind. Thoughts come fast, one after another. You replay conversations, overthink every word. You imagine what might go wrong. You worry about the future endlessly. Overthinking becomes a prison for your mind. It traps you in cycles of doubt. You analyze everything to pieces. You question every feeling, every action. You ask yourself, did I say the right thing? Did I make a mistake? What will they think of me? The mind spins, never stopping. It steals your peace, your joy. You feel anxious even without reason. This mental overload drains your energy. It makes it hard to focus. It blurs your view of reality. You feel stuck in your own thoughts. This is what happens when overthinking dominates. I want to tell you about Sarah. Sarah is a talented artist, but she spends hours doubting her work. She redoes her paintings repeatedly. She fears they aren't good enough. She worries what others will say. Her mind fills with what ifs. What if I fail? What if no one likes it? She wants to create freely, but anxiety holds her back. Her thoughts become a weight on her chest. Sarah's struggle is not uncommon. Overthinking is a common symptom of anxiety today. It often hides as a desire for control. We think if we analyze more, we can prevent mistakes, avoid pain. But the opposite happens. Overthinking paralyzes us. It keeps us from living fully. It feeds fears instead of calming them. It turns small problems into mountains. One thought leads to another, and soon you're overwhelmed. You wonder if you're crazy. You feel exhausted by your own mind. But there is hope. You can learn to calm this storm. You can break free from overthinking. It starts with awareness. Notice when your mind races. Catch the moment before it spirals. You don't have to believe every thought. Thoughts are just passing clouds. You can choose not to follow them. Mindfulness practices help. Breathe deeply. Focus on the present moment. Feel your feet on the ground. Look around and name what you see. This anchors you in reality. It stops the endless mental loop. Another tool is to challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this true? Is there evidence for this fear? Often, fears are exaggerations. Remind yourself that uncertainty is normal. You don't have to control everything. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to not have all answers. Therapy can also be helpful. Talking to someone trained can ease anxiety. They help you understand your patterns. Teach coping skills for overthinking. Remember Sarah? She started meditation and journaling. She learned to write down her worries. Seeing them on paper made them smaller. She practiced grounding techniques daily. Slowly, she felt more control, more calm, more joy in her art. She stopped fearing failure. Instead, she embraced growth. You can take steps too. Start small. Pause when you notice overthinking. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself if this thought helps. If not, let it go. Replace worry with curiosity. What can I learn from this? Overthinking will not vanish overnight, but with practice it loses power. You reclaim your mind. Your peace returns. Your creativity blossoms. You live more fully, less trapped by fear, more connected to your true self. You learn to trust life's flow, not control it. That is emotional maturity. That is the path to wholeness, because healing the split inside starts with calming your mind, with loving yourself enough to slow down, to listen, to be present. And that presence is freedom. It is peace. It is you, whole and alive. There is a hidden power in discipline. Discipline is not about punishment. It is not about forcing yourself. It is a gift you give yourself. A daily commitment to your growth, to your peace, to your wholeness. Without discipline, life drifts away. You become a leaf in the wind, swept by others' demands, distractions, fears. You lose control of your own story. I want to share a story about James. James was creative but scattered. He dreamed of writing a novel, but he struggled to sit down and write. He told himself he needed motivation. He waited for the perfect moment. Days turned into months. He felt frustrated and anxious. His dreams seemed farther away. One day, James read a quote by Nietzsche: "Discipline bridges dreams and reality." He realized waiting for motivation was a trap of overthinking. He started small, writing 5 minutes each morning. No pressure to be perfect, just showing up. At first it felt hard. His mind wanted to quit, but he pushed through. Each day became easier. His confidence grew. His novel slowly took shape. Discipline gave him control. Not over everything, but over himself. He chose what mattered. He protected his time and energy. He learned to say no to distractions, to excuses, to the fear of failure. Discipline became his freedom. It freed him from chaos, from anxiety, from self-doubt. This is the paradox of discipline. It requires effort but gives peace. It limits choices but expands possibilities. It demands consistency but brings growth. Without it, anxiety and burnout flourish. Your mind races. Your energy scatters. Your goals fade. With discipline, you master your attention. You become the author of your life. You don't wait for permission. You don't need external approval. You trust your own direction. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It says, I matter enough to invest in myself. It is an act of love, of courage, of self-mastery. Not control over others, but control over your inner world. When you combine discipline with detachment, you stop chasing what drains you. You protect your peace fiercely. You direct your energy wisely. You allow space for rest and growth. This balance is essential for healing the split inside, because wholeness needs both movement and stillness, action and acceptance, structure and freedom. James's journey was not easy. There were days he wanted to quit, times when old fears surfaced, but discipline kept him grounded. He built routines that supported him. He learned to forgive setbacks, to celebrate progress no matter how small. And that made all the difference. You can start today too. Choose one small habit, a moment of discipline, a decision to focus, to show up for yourself. No need for grand plans, just a single step. This step leads to the next, and soon you find yourself moving forward, stronger, calmer, more whole. Because discipline is the bridge from who you are now to who you want to become. And that journey is worth every effort. It is a path back to yourself, to your true power, to your peace. There is a hidden struggle many young people face today. It is the challenge of detaching from people and situations. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many think it means cutting off or giving up. But true detachment is something deeper. It is an act of self-love and protection. It means creating space around your heart, space where your energy can be safe. It is about choosing what nourishes you and letting go of what drains you. We live in a world full of emotional demands. Social media, relationships, work, family, all pull at us. We try to keep everyone happy. We bend and change ourselves to fit others' needs, especially in romantic relationships. You might say yes when you want to say no. You tolerate behaviors that hurt you. You hope love means sacrifice without limits. But this kind of giving is not love. It is self-neglect. I want to share a story about Mia. Mia was always the good girlfriend. She made plans to fit his schedule. She changed her own hobbies and time. She ignored her feelings to avoid fights. She thought love meant being available always. But inside, she felt lost and exhausted. She stopped recognizing herself. One day, Mia's anxiety became unbearable. She felt trapped in a cycle of giving and guilt. She began to understand something important. She needed to create boundaries, not to punish him, but to save herself. She started with small steps, saying no to late-night calls, choosing to spend time with friends, not answering messages immediately. At first, her partner was confused. He asked why she seemed distant. Mia explained she needed space. She needed peace for her mind. It was a difficult conversation, but necessary. Over time, Mia felt her energy return. Her anxiety eased. She saw the relationship more clearly. She realized she deserved respect for her limits. Her partner slowly adjusted too. Some people resist boundaries. They try to pull you back in. But you cannot control others. You only control your response. Detachment is freedom from emotional entanglement. It gives you the power to choose, to love yourself first, to protect your peace. When you detach, your mind can rest. You stop being caught in every drama. You see patterns and truths more clearly. You stop overthinking every reaction. You build emotional resilience. This is key to healing the split inside. Because when you are too enmeshed, you lose sight of yourself. You become a shadow of others' needs. Detachment helps you find your true self again. It lets you stand firm in your values and in your peace. Detaching is not easy. It takes courage. You face fears of loneliness, rejection, judgment. But you learn to face those fears with compassion. You remind yourself your worth is your own, not dependent on others' approval. You build a life where your energy is safe, where your peace is sacred, where you are surrounded by respect. This is not selfishness. It is self-preservation. It is the foundation for healthy love. When you detach, you don't close doors. You open doors to your true self and to relationships that honor you fully. Mia's story shows this truth. She learned to say no gently but firmly. She reclaimed her time and energy. She stopped being the always available partner. She became whole again. And everything changed. If you feel overwhelmed or drained, ask yourself where you need detachment. What people or situations steal your energy? What relationships demand too much? Start small. Create space. Protect your peace. Watch how your inner world shifts, how anxiety lessens, how clarity grows. Detachment is not absence of love. It is presence of self-respect. It is key to healing your inner split, to becoming whole, to living authentically. And that is freedom.